Dzień dobry. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I apologize for interrupting the conversations. I know that that's a big part of our event here is the interpersonal communication and the ideas that you all are sharing. So we'll get back to it later. But first, we have a very exciting program for you. Our Think Tank Shark Tank competition is about to begin. I do want to congratulate, however, our friend Federico Fernandez, who became a father yesterday. I've been told it's twin boys, and while we all have a lot of work to do, I think you may have the most work of all of us. So we wish you luck. Congratulations. I'm thrilled to be joining you today. This is a very exciting program. It's an Atlas Network tradition that we've had on the main stage for nearly 10 years now. And we have some great pitches for you. The contestants are up front, hopefully not too nervous, but sweating a bit, getting ready to join me on stage. This competition really does stand out from many of the programs that we have at our events for a few reasons, but mainly that this is an opportunity for some of the next ideas that come up on stage, right? So innovative, entrepreneurial, impactful ideas that are going to advance the cause of liberty, which obviously we cover some of that in our other sessions, but this is a very unique opportunity for them to present the next phase of their work. I imagine most people in the room are familiar with the hit TV show on ABC, Shark Tank. It's one of my personal favorites. And while we do our best to try to match that, hopefully you agree it's close. What's cool about the show is that it's very unique projects sometimes that can surprise us. So if you watch this, one of the most successful projects or products in the history of Shark Tank is something called Scrub Daddy, which is a washing sponge for your sink, for your dishes, in the shape of a smiley face. Seems very simple, seems not that interesting in my opinion, but for whatever reason, it fits in your hand well enough that they've sold millions of dollars worth. It's one of the most successful products in history. And so we're hoping that there may also be a unique investment opportunity on the stage today that surprises us all. So I'm excited to introduce them to you. In front of you today, we're going to have 3 intellectual entrepreneurs with a proven track record in our network, and they're going to share their 3 new ideas on how they can improve and, in some cases, even save lives in their communities. They'll each have 5 minutes, no more. I'm going to be very strict about that. There's a timer. We've gone through the walkthrough, so 5 minutes, and I'll be joining you on stage to take you off. They'll be presenting in front of our esteemed panel of judges, who will then each have 5 minutes to ask questions, to grill them. I believe they're very excited for the grilling part. After your walkthrough today, they suggested that they're not going to take it easy on you, so best of luck, guys. Then we're going to take a quick break. The judges will convene in a super secret location, not to be shared here, and they'll determine who's going to be the winner of our $10,000 Shark Tank prize. So before I introduce them, I do also want to thank and acknowledge the Smith Family Foundation, the sponsor, for supporting Think Tank Shark Tank competition and our grant program. So a quick round of applause for the foundation. And I know I'm not supposed to say this part, but cue suspenseful music. Is that the AV's next move? And I'd like to invite our esteemed judges to the stage. So if you'd please join me. Jerzy Chubak from Amcor. We have Lawson Bader from Donors Trust. And Atlas Network board member Linda Edwards. So if you'll please join me. Very good. Linda? Jerzy. Okay, please take your seat, make yourselves comfortable, settle in. And I'm ready to get started, if everyone else is. And so without further ado, we're going to invite Guillem Valencia Caballero from Institut Ostrom Catalonia in Spain. He's going to be pitching his project, From Deficit to Contribution, Voluntary Compensated Plasma Collections in Spain. So Guillem, the floor is yours. Okay. 5 minutes and I'll come get you. Okay.
But I don't have the microphone.
Here, or you can take one of these if you'd like.
Okay. Can you take one?
It doesn't work.
Hopefully it works. Okay. So, may I start?
These are Isabel, Carlos, and Yolanda. All three have been diagnosed with some form of immunodeficiency, and like many of the 50,000 patients in Spain that regularly require plasma-derived therapies, each of them needs about 1,200 donations every year to obtain their supply of coagulation factor products. The COVID pandemic has exposed the threat to the stability of much-needed plasma supply, but also the severe limitations of the antiquated, inefficient, and ineffective regulations that in the majority of countries in the world prohibit the economic compensation of plasma donors. By doing this, governments are putting lives at risk. I am Guillem Valencia, Head of Global Programs at the Ostrom Institute in Barcelona, and today I have the honor of presenting to you the project that, if chosen, will solve this problem once and for all. We need your help to move the needle and go from deficit to contribution, and we need your help to advance the case for voluntary compensated plasma donations. Plasma-derived therapies are essential to treat a lot of diseases, from hemophilia, immunodeficiencies, and a lot of coagulation disorders. On average, each patient needs 10 donations per year. For 50,000 patients in Spain, that means more than 500,000 donations are needed every year. As I will explain later, we are really far from that number. Sorry, I don't have hands, I thought another microphone. If the pharmaceutical industry can satisfy today the current demand for plasma products, it is only thanks to 5 countries, United States, Austria, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Germany, who, despite being only 5% of the world population, contribute to over 90% of the plasma used for therapies. These 5 countries, coincidentally, are among the few that allow the compensation of plasma donations. In Spain, despite being home to Grifols, the world leader in plasma-derived therapies, current regulations prohibit the economic compensation of plasma donors, and currently the domestic donations account for only 1/3 of the plasma needed. If this problem remains in force over time and we do not act quickly enough, we will soon see shortages of plasma that will put patients' lives at risk, but also negatively impact much-needed R&D on new plasma-derived therapies. With this senseless regulation, now you only get a biscuit and a juice in exchange for taking part in a 2-hour-long process that involves sitting in a chair 45 minutes with a huge needle in your arm. Would any of you do it for a biscuit and a juice? That is obviously not enough, and that is why incentives matter. We recently published a report, From Deficit to Contribution, the Case for Voluntary Compensated Plasma Collections in Spain, coordinated by Professor Peter Jaworski from Georgetown University. And in this report, we provide empirical evidence on why Spain should adopt the exact model of plasma collections and allow the remuneration of plasma donations. Here you can see the huge spike in plasma donations in 2007 in the Czech Republic, when they started allowing the economic compensation of plasma donors. This report has already been featured in some of the main countries, in some of the main media outlets in the country, and has received the notable support of the main advocacy groups and associations of patients in Spain. So, sorry, I have too many things on my hands. Thanks to your generous contribution, I will finish. We will bring our campaign to the next level. We need $10,000 to adapt to our existing $10,000 budget to make sure Spain its regulation and allows plasma donors compensation, thereby reaching 1,000 donations a week. Together, we will move the needle and ensure Spain stops putting its patients at risk. Now is the time to translate free market policy benefits to healthcare. Now is the time to move from deficit to contribution. Now is the time to act and advance the case for voluntary compensated plasma donations. Thank you very much.
Keep the mic. I'm going to stand right there. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. Pretty impressive. Well done, Guillem. And now to our judges. Jersey, why don't you start us off? And please, the questions.
Guillaume, definitely plasma is needed to save people's life, to produce treatment products for healing those who are ill with blood or liver diseases. That's what we learned. Now, that products are produced by big pharma giants with big budgets, and they definitely lobby for the same reason. That's the free market, right? They also would like to get supplies of plasma. Why do you think small organization like yours can be more successful than these big giants?
I come here so everyone can hear me. Is it open?
It's fine.
Yeah. So we will be more successful because big companies are not interested in this. Because if you want more players in the market, you have to allow the remuneration of donors. Now with a huge limit there on new donors, the market is reserved to the big pharma companies. In fact, there is only one in the world that controls more than 60% of the market. If we want more players, more competition, lower prices, more innovation, we need to allow the compensation of plasma donors.
Guillermo, thanks for the presentation. I think you were preaching to the choir on being able to pay for plasma donation. I mean, I know Peter Jaworski, and I'm familiar with his radical capitalism, and we should be able to buy each other's kidneys. But what I didn't hear is how...
You don't want mine.
I'm not asking to buy yours. But what I didn't hear is how you're going to do your project that's actually going to persuade the policymakers to change the policy.
So we have already a plan designed. We will have a huge social media presence. We want to direct the conversation, the public conversation there. We will do 10 roadshow events across Spain because we need the politicians' support to change this. And we will also do informative videos to impact not only population but also KOLs.
And are the population already generally supportive? I mean, is there a big pushback morally? I don't think it's right to sell body parts, even your blood.
As far as we know, we haven't sensed any kind of big pushback. We see the pushback comes from the far left and the far right from different reasons, but we will work on that.
Yeah, I want to expand on that. So you've got 5 organizations that you listed that are supporting. You're talking 11% demand. Is this a campaign that you're going to have to manufacture? Because the opposition's either opposition to a concept or it's not. Is it an organized opposition? Would it be an unorganized? Is this something you can do surreptitiously, or are you going to have to create the demand for this to start in the first place, which will take a significant amount of your resources?
It has to be public, because if the politicians don't sense a social presence that are asking for the change there, they won't do anything. But we need both sides. We need social presence, but we need resources to be able to impact KOLs, to impact leaders in the sector, in the political parties, to change this regulation.
So Spain was sort of halfway down that list. There are a lot of countries between Spain and the 5 that were involved. So are there other countries that are similarly inclined? Is this something that you could see having a domino effect of, if you're successful in Spain, 2 or 3 others might pay more attention, or is that where your thinking is?
The focus is Spain, because we think as the world leader is a Spanish company, it will have a huge impact economically. But actually, I've learned here that there are some colleagues that are working on similar projects in other countries. So there is a potential there to go bigger.
What do you do if you don't get 10,000 from us?
Sorry?
What do you do if you don't get the price of 10,000?
If I have to be honest, we will do it. We get it or not, the 10,000, because we love this project. We have a minimal version with less activities, prioritizing social media presence. But actually, I have this graphic here, so you want an image of how we will scale the budget, but we will do it without or with the $10,000.
Thank you.
Do you have existing people on staff committed to this, or are you going to have to find other individuals or certain technologies to help with this?
We have one scientific and the staff that is leading this project. We have 2 public affairs personnel that will dedicate time to this, and we have the close collaboration of 2 deputies in the Congress of and in the Congress of Deputies in Spain that are full in favor of this.
Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you for your presentation, and hopefully you're going to get people in Spain able to access plasma.
Very well done. That's one down and two to go. Next, we have Glenn Hodgson from Free Trade Europa, who's going to be pitching his project, A Fair Gig, addressing working conditions of platform workers in Europe. Glenn.
Good afternoon. When you think about gig and unconventional work, what springs to mind? Often, it's probably this. Gig work and platform work have become synonymous with immigrant men on mopeds delivering sushis and pizzas for very tiny salaries. And certainly this is the impression for politicians as well as the media and many other stakeholders who did not understand the future of work or the seismic shifts that are underway and the demand for flexibility, for choice, and for freedom from a broad swathe of the population. That's why I'm here today to present A Fair Gig, addressing worker conditions of platform workers in Europe, since today this covers independent contractors in the technology and medical sectors, also covering architects, lawyers, models, musicians, and artists. They're enjoying more freedom and earning more money because of this situation, and also we're here to protect their freedom. Leading up to the proposal for legislation to cover platform work across Europe, our aim with this initiative was to shift the Overton window to be able to allow the benefits of digitalization, to be able to allow the development of the platform economy both technologically and economically, and most importantly allow workers to earn money in new and flexible ways outside of the traditional 9 to 5. And for the $25,000, 5 of which very kindly came from Atlas Network, we created a campaign rather than a one-off event, a set of milestones to create a steady drumbeat, but also build on each other and amplify these activities. We've got a few examples, a bit of a laundry list here. And all of these were very well received, and the impact has been that we've reached a huge number of decision makers and also stakeholders, as well as surpassed the expectations in terms of the impressions over our website and also social media channels. And this has resulted in us being able to move the needle. The December proposal, which came out from the European Commission, was better than expected. And now we're working hard at the national and Brussels levels to make this better. And the impact is also that we've become a must consult in Sweden, but also at the European level as well on these topics. And for us, this is huge. To be able to exceed our own ambitious expectations in becoming a trusted advisor. But there's also a sense of urgency as well within this, because we also have this window of opportunity to impact the new policy framework, which is being formed now, and this is going to close at the end of the year. So we've laid the groundwork, we've built up a lot of a momentum, and many organizations also believe in what we're doing and have come on board. And the COVID-19 pandemic, despite being tragic, has also opened this window of opportunity because people are more used to remote work, more used to using technology than ever before. And we also realize that going forwards, the voice of freelancers is what is missing in this debate, the people themselves. And if we were to win this $10,000, we would put that towards putting together a piece of research through a survey, but also we were developing an app with a partner here in Poland that actually draws out the data from the platforms, the amount of hours worked and the money earned. So this will be quite innovative and a bit of a first. So in some, if we get this right, we'll also create this ripple effect, which will allow labour market reform, not just in Sweden, but across Europe. So it's a multiplier effect in various countries. So in essence, we feel that we're changing the game. We're helping people, and we're shining a light on the possibilities that technology has given to young people, to old people, to immigrants, to disabled, and also working mothers and fathers who want to earn a bit of extra cash. Sectors of the population who traditionally have found it difficult to get into the labour market. And in doing so, we're actually creating a bit of a groundswell. We feel we're creating a movement within this as well, while ensuring that the legislative framework allows the future of work to flourish rather than be strangled by outdated sets of rules. And I'm very happy to answer the questions that you have. Thank you.
Glenn, thanks. So you started with an image of a bicycle delivery. You moved to the expansion of what was happening to various pictures of independent workers. You then ended with a broad conversation about some of the people who would benefit. Who is not going to benefit from changes like this? And do you run the risk that the perception is that changes are going to help those who are perhaps already have jobs where there's more flexibility and can do things, whereas the bicycle delivery guy may not have that same, and how is that going to affect your messaging?
I think the opportunities for everyone, that giving the possibilities, choose your passion, to make money from your passion, which maybe not there before. It's not to say that the world of work will change completely and full-time 9-to-5 jobs will disappear, but for people to have the options, people to have the possibilities to choose, and giving the opportunities that people can organize themselves in a slightly different way. So we see this in very much a respect that giving the possibilities, giving the freedom and giving the choice, and it's all sectors of society, different skill levels, different ages. So we're seeing this being open to all and also across the European Union as well.
Glenn, gig and platform workers, taxation and legislation, it's nothing new. It's a lot of debate everywhere. Over the last couple of years in the US, that was big debate. Actually, I think it resulted in let's do nothing because existing legislation is good enough. And debate is continuing. How do you make sure that you learn from best practices? How do you know what's the best standard? Who are your partners in US and elsewhere to know and to make sure what you propose is right?
Yeah. And this is crucial to be working with the platforms themselves, but also listening to the workers themselves, what's right. Learning the lessons, what I call the platform economy 1.0, where Uber went in, they wanted to get big and destroy everything. That's not going to work. You need to look after your workers because it's the competition for talent. You need to pay them properly, put in place the standards and also the protection. One of the problems at the moment, you're not allowed to, because if you do that, you're treated as being an employer, and therefore you get more and more things on top. These kind of anomalies need to be flattened out in the legislation, so it's something that makes sense for everyone.
I'm interested to hear you dig down a little more on that, because I was curious, when I listened to your presentation, it was all sort of up here at the conceptual level, and I'm curious, what do you consider a win in terms of legislation that gets passed, or what are you trying to prevent from getting passed? Because obviously, when platforms first came out, people saw them as neutral platforms that connected sellers and buyers, or workers and employers. And now there's a push to see the platform itself as an employer. Yep. Are you trying to get the platforms to, what is it that you're trying to get them to do?
To take responsibility, absolutely. Pay the taxes, do everything properly, but at the same time, this week we've seen the new proposal that's come out from the European Parliament. There's a lot of work to do, and it's an absolute trade unionist wet dream in terms of what's in there. It's taken us back 50 years. We need to make sure that we have a level marketplace, and that independent contractors are allowed to choose this and have the options without having to have collective bargaining agreements, join a union, have representation, all the things that people become freelancers to avoid, basically. Absolutely.
So is this a Swedish project or a European Parliament project?
It's both. So it's Sweden is the starting point, but now that the legislation is going through the European Parliament, the European institutions, we want to have this impact at the European level to make sure that we can put in place the best standards across the European Union.
So you had not yet completed the pilot in Sweden, because I wanted to ask a similar question. What are your learnings from the pilot to make sure that it's relevant to European area?
Yeah. What we've learned is that no one's going to accept Uber or Bolt or Volt earning more money as a reason to actually put this legislation in place. What we want is the people who are earning a living, earning extra money, renting out their apartment this way. What do they want to see from that? And give them a voice. And this work that we're doing now will allow them to do that by hearing directly from them and pulling it out and giving facts and figures. This is the things that even the platforms themselves don't have at the moment. And thanks to GDPR, you can share this data and we'll have, for the first time, real statistics on what's going on.
So the main point of the 10,000 prize would be to do this survey of workers. And so far, you don't really have any feedback from what the workers themselves want?
Oh, we do, absolutely. We've got a lot of feedback already, a lot of research, but what we want is to go into those apps and drag out the raw data, which we'll be able to do with this Unveil app that we're developing with a partner in Poland.
Thank you.
You're about to be gonged, so.
Thanks for your time. Thanks.
Thanks.
Well done. Thanks, sir.
Well done, Glenn. Casey, Brad, I do love my job at Atlas Network, but these are a lot of thoughts. The gig economy, selling plasma, I'm starting to reconsider my options. Israfil Özkan from Turkey is going to join us now for his presentation. He'll be pitching the project Turkish Public Alcohol Policy Watch. So please welcome Israfil to the stage.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Is this working? I brought my own microphone. Okay. Dear judges, imagine having an expensive bottle of champagne after this delicious lunch and putting some in your glasses and handing the rest to the government. Or imagine sipping from top of your beer, which is probably mostly foam, and then government enjoys the rest. So my name is Israfil, and I am the director of Freedom Research Association. And today I'm going to present our watchdog platform called Turkish Public Alcohol Policy Watch. It has been founded to raise awareness against the restrictive alcohol policy and lifestyle intervention of the Turkish government. The high taxes on alcoholic beverages, called special consumption tax, first established in 2002 and dramatically increased in 2013 by the government of AKP, whose leadership is known as their aversion to alcoholic beverages. Today, the special consumption tax raised twice a year, and considering with the VAT, cost hikes. And also, starting from 2013, new laws ban all forms of advertisement and promotion of alcoholic beverages, made it very difficult to get a license or renew to sell liquor, and put countless of access restrictions to sell alcoholic beverages. So, moreover, the public alcohol policy has been marginalized by the government. And you can't find any solid data or public policy about the public alcohol policy. However, there is no evidence to justify a more restrictive alcohol policy, since alcohol consumption rates remain constant for years. Per person, alcohol consumption rates in Turkey is just 1.4 liters per person. And this is the lowest consumption rates in Europe. And one of the lowest consumption rates among the countries where alcohol consumption is legal. Even the countries which have the highest alcohol consumption rates implements much less restrictive alcohol policy and less taxes to fight against alcoholism. Therefore, all these government actions considered as lifestyle intervention and have serious consequences on human rights, human life, and economy. Since the day we launched our platform, we have been working to monitoring the press and collecting the data to raise awareness about the black market. The bootlegging is a huge and ongoing problem in Turkey and leads to the deaths of hundreds of citizens every year. Calculating tax rates and publishing them to raise tax awareness against the excess taxes on alcoholic beverages that can be up to 300%. Interviewing experts and company owners to raise awareness for the indirect consequences of the alcohol restrictions. Today, we proudly can say that we have become the most popular watchdog platform for public alcohol policy. However, even these great numbers, we still need to broaden our target audience, and unfortunately, we can't do it without new resources. As the next step of our project, we would like to produce unbiased information on alcoholic beverages for young people who will have the legal age to consume, and help them to develop a healthy consuming habits. We will create an awareness platform that includes basic information about why drinking is a freedom and how to enjoy this freedom responsibly. With these purposes, we will translate 50 scientific and philosophical blog posts and commentaries from English to Turkish, and 50 short videos based on these translations to broaden our reach, and hire a person to coordinate current and potentially upcoming activities. With these activities, we aim to inform at least 10,000 young people in the next year of the project. We believe we can achieve these ambitious goals because so far our work has been highlighted more than 30 times in 3 continents. We become one of the most popular social initiatives in the public policy, public alcohol policy, and we are the only one in this field. We have 14,000 followers on Twitter, and average social media reactions to our tweets is around 1,200,000 to 2 million. Thank you.
Thank you. So I love Turkey, and it's a gorgeous country, but it is a Muslim country, and I've lived in a Muslim country, and of course alcohol is haram for Muslims. So is this perceived by the government as, you know, it's a tax on foreigners and a tax on bad Muslims? And, you know, do you have any hostility to the campaign from the government, which has a little bit of an Islamist flavor, and from the population?
From the population, they're just ignoring us, to be honest. But it's criminal to promoting any alcoholic beverages in Turkey. So we just don't talk about raki, we don't talk about wine. We are just promoting and always referencing a constitutional right to drinking beer or tobacco. This is a right, this is a freedom. We are just focusing on that side. Otherwise, government will eventually turn us if we share photos of bars and cafes or beverages itself. We don't use those items as bottles or other things. Otherwise, you are right. There will be an attack.
So if you're successful at one of your legs of the alcohol is freedom theme, which I would concur with, that's why you don't want my kidney. And if you were so successful that consumption quadrupled, which meant, but you failed at the tax issue, you make the government very happy because now you just increase your tax revenues. So which is more important? The beer is freedom consumption issue, or is it also the tax issue, and can one be done without the other? I'm sort of looking at what are your unexpected outcomes that you may not want.
Actually, a couple of years ago, if someone told me that you're going to organize a project about alcoholic beverages to defend your freedom in Turkey, I wouldn't believe it at all. But in today, I think defending alcohol means defending freedom and democracy in Turkey, because we can't talk about other serious issues like checks and balances mechanism, like freedom of speech. We can't talk about these issues. This is the only field we can now defend ourselves, and we can go further from here. And while we're doing that, I mean, we are doing it both at the same time. We are just trying to inform people about solid information and about alcoholic beverages, but at the same time we are trying to saying that government increasing the tax rate is, you're just punishing those people, but at the same time you're losing income. So, and people are dying. So we are offering a government a chance to select one of these. So just trying to consider both of them and trying to find a way to balance, actually.
Israfil, thank you. I mean, you don't need to convince us. It's a legal product, should be available.
Yeah.
And I know that in many places the access is limited in Turkey. However, which part of the society are you representing? As far as I know, 70% of people, they declare absenteeism in Turkey. Don't you think that these 70% of people will go against you?
Probably, but I'm representing, to be honest, I'm representing only 55% of the total population, because the recent poll shows that 50% of the population says drink alcohol. The other 70%, 75%, they don't use alcohol. And I'm representing that part, of course, but it is a constitutional right, and I mean, we shouldn't be afraid of society from the majority to defend the right. I mean, we could be from a minority part, or we can defend a very marginal right, but it doesn't matter actually. And this is a constitutional right, and we need to defend it. It's represent majority.
So what's wrong with the producers of alcohol? You should be having actually the best supporters in producers of the alcohol.
Now you are coming to Middle East. So it is impossible to work with private companies because they don't want to extra attention while contributing to civil society about these kind of initiatives. And they totally clear about it. They said that we don't want extra attention from government. And surprisingly, they are also supporting government to take extra tax from home brewers.
They kill their own branch?
Yeah, they had to do that. They just don't want to see home brewers in Turkey, because otherwise we can't purchase from the market. It's too expensive right now with the consideration the inflation rates, and they're just choosing
Okay,
to
quick
punish them.
final question.
Yeah.
You're going to use the 10,000 if you win it to amplify your campaign. What would you do if you don't win it?
To be honest, my teammate Çağıntan Eroğlu will do most of the work voluntarily, and he's been doing voluntarily ever since we got the project. And if you don't give me the 10,000K, he's going to work voluntarily like maybe a couple of years more. So please don't do it.
So in other words, he's going to drink heavily for the next several years. All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Israfil. And we've been clapping a lot, but one more round of applause for all three of these guys. Very well done. Judges, thank you for your questions. I'm a bit disappointed. I was hoping I'd be able to pull someone off stage or cut someone off, but the timing was perfect, so well done. The three of you are now going to join my colleague Lachlan Mirsky to the secret location, which will not be shared. Please leave your phones at the door, check for a wire, make sure. And while they're deliberating, I'd like to invite my colleague, Patty Holbein, the Vice President of Training and Events at Atlas Network, for a shameless advertisement of the rest of the opportunities that we have going on at Atlas Network. So please, Patty.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all again, and this is indeed a shameless plug for our training academy. You may or may not know, several of your colleagues sitting in the room have already been participating in some training experiences that are associated with the Liberty Forum. Prior to the start of the Liberty Forum, there was one training that lasted for 3 days called Leader Lab. If you folks would identify yourselves, who's still in the room that participated in Leader Lab? There you go, there's still a few here. Some of them had to head off already, but this is a experience that is for mid-level managers, rising leaders in organizations, so really to give you an immersive experience in terms of looking at moving from some of that doer space of like the everyday, push up your sleeves and get the work done, and looking at it more holistically from not only the doer space, but also as a translator, as we like to call it, and also the architect space of that strategic kind of realm. And so, by and large, this is a really great experience. It culminates in folks participating in an elevator pitch competition to really give them a chance in a low-stakes kind of environment to really learn how to hone the pitch for their particular organization, which, as we know, is all very important, especially when you're walking along and somebody says, "What do you do?" Well, you've got that 60-second window to give them something besides, "I work for a think tank." So you can get in a little bit deeper into that and really kind of get people curious about what it is you're doing and want to ask you more questions about, tell me more about that. They also participate in a strategic plan competition that gives them a chance to work with a mentor from within the network for the day in formulating a strategic plan based on a case study that we give them in the moment, and working through that and then pitching that particular strategic plan to a panel of judges that are considered their board to really get them on board. So that's one of the experiences going on around this. Tomorrow and Sunday will be our first Marketing and Communications 360 workshop, which will be an immersive experience for marketing and communications professionals from around Europe who are coming together to really get their hands on formulating that marketing and communication strategy and digging a little bit deeper and getting that seat at the table, if you will, and how you're advancing that particular part of your organization. There are a whole lot of other experiences within the Atlas Network Academy that I invite you to log in and look at, everything from Think Tank Foundation certification. Many of you have talked about you're going to be onboarding some new people into your organizations. We would love for you to have them take the Think Tank Foundation certifications to really kind of normalize some of that language and really getting some of those core concepts and skills rooted so that we're all talking from the same narrative. And then in addition to the marketing communications, there's also a fundraising certification that will be coming online fully a little bit later this year. There are leadership opportunities in terms of mentorship, and also there's, in addition to Leader Lab, there's an executive level experience as well that's called Executive Accelerator that will be in August in beautiful Tysons Corner, Virginia. Yeah, right. That will be a 6-day long experience, and this is for, rising executives or new executives to really get an experience of looking at themselves as a personal leader and their particular styles and the styles of folks within their organization, but then also to really kind of get their hands on, what is the strategy of my organization? How does that fit into the mission, vision, values, and some of the North Stars or the big goals that we're really setting for ourselves? So it's a really great experience for peer-to-peer interaction as well, and also kind of be challenged to go to the next level. So that's kind of, I will stop there, but I invite you to explore, and I'm going to hand it back to Jack so he can talk to you a little bit more about institute relations while we wait for those judges to deliberate. I don't envy them. That's going to be a tough choice for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Patty. And for those of you who haven't participated in our training programs, I do highly recommend it. I was actually honored to be able to participate in Leader Lab in Miami in December and was able to get a lot out of it, even though I get an inside look just about every day. So I highly recommend. And for those of you who have been through our trainings in the past, under Patty's leadership, we've done a reformulation of many of these trainings that she's discussed, and I still think there are opportunities for you to go through those trainings again. So between her and our awesome training team, I highly recommend that you check out some of those opportunities. As Patty mentioned, I am on the Institute Relations team, along with a few of my colleagues here today. We manage the grants portion and awards portion of our model at Atlas Network. You may have heard us talk about Coach, Compete, Celebrate. You may have heard us talk about it a little bit too much, so I apologize if we've annoyed you with that saying. But the coach portion obviously refers to trainings. We also want to inspire competition among our partners. There are many of you in this room who are grantees, many who are aspiring grantees, and the goal is really to make sure that you all are reaching for the most ambitious goals possible, that you can look to one another for inspiration, that you can lean on each other for collaborative opportunities. And there are a variety of grant programs available, so everything from Think Tank Startup, which is reserved for our newer partners, for organizations that are just getting off the ground, all the way up to our flagship programs that include the new Human Dignity Grant line, which is a unique opportunity for organizations who are working to empower the individual, to unleash human ingenuity around the world. I highly recommend that you look into those applications. The next deadline is Sunday, so if you're interested, you have about 48 hours to submit an application. Obviously, we want high-quality applications, but we have 4 deadlines a year. So Sunday is our second quarter, and the next will be August 15. You're welcome to visit the Atlas Network website for grant program descriptions, and you'll be able to access the applications there. Myself and my colleagues are certainly available via email here for the next day or two to answer any questions you have. We want to support the work that you're doing and to be a part of your amazing initiatives around the world. So again, a shameless plug for Atlas Network grants and awards. The last thing, which is the celebrate portion, obviously it's what we're doing here today in beautiful Warsaw. I do also want to mention our event in November, our Liberty Forum and Freedom Dinner, which will be returning to New York City this year after a brief hiatus due to that which will not be named. And so we're very excited to be returning to New York and to be with all of our friends. Obviously, we would love to have as many of you there as possible, and so I'd welcome each and every one of you to contact us, to register, to reach out to our amazing events team, which I don't know if it's appropriate for another round of applause we can hold on the claps until the judges come back, but just a brief shout out to our events team. This has been an incredible program. Obviously, you all make it incredible being here, but the Sofitel has been fantastic. I've enjoyed the food more than I typically enjoy hotel meals, and so it's been a great pleasure to be here with you all today. I can continue talking about Atlas Network opportunities. It's what I do for a living, so I'm earning my paycheck today. But seriously, the trainings are amazing. Everything from your entry-level staff to your top people, all run through the whole thing again. Leader Lab, Executive Accelerator, Think Tank 360, thank you. I do also want to reference our Regional Liberty Award winners and the Templeton Freedom Award. So we were very excited to honor Fundacja Liberté last night with an amazing project from Poland. 2 million people participating in the Freedom Games program. Quite an impressive victory, and we're excited to see them compete alongside some of the other finalists for our Templeton Freedom Award in New York this December. Our judges have returned, so thankfully you don't have to continue listening to me. And my colleague Lachlan will be delivering the award now, as well as the winner. So I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. I don't want to keep contestants waiting any longer. Obviously, they've gone through enough. So if you would join me in a drum roll on the table, please. The winner of the 2022 Europe Liberty Forum Think Tank Shark Tank competition, Israfil Özkan from Freedom Research Association. Congratulations.